So this week I was thinking about my many blessings that I've had in my life from childhood up, and I was thinking about how fortunate I was as a little girl to travel across the country because my dad's business required us to go everywhere. And so it was really fun to be able to see different parts of the United States and meet new people and experience different cultures. And so I remember our first big road trip. We were going from Los Angeles, which is where I lived, to Oregon. And I was about 5 years old. And this was exciting because it was a new trip, long distance, and I was very excited about it. My parents weren't very communicative about the rules about long-distance driving, so it's kind of like we just went in the car and drove. And by the way, I just need to say this. I grew up in the era before there were child seats, right? No child seats when I grew up, and my little driving seat was behind the passenger seat on the floor. No seat belts whatsoever, but that was my little place, and I'm here to tell you I survived all of that, right? As many of us have. But anyway, so we're driving along, and me being a little girl and having had my fruit punch or whatever I was drinking, my bladder was getting a little full. And I was terrified from my mom. My mom was she had a temper on her, so I was afraid to say, can we stop, because I have to go to the bathroom. So I held it in, and we were driving, and I wet myself. Just the way it happened. And of course, I didn't bother to say, now, can we stop? No, I just kept in my wetness there. And we finally pulled over, and I get out of the car, and I'm just soiled. And my mom looks at me, and she's like, Dale, she goes, you're wet, you're sopping wet. She goes, you need to tell us. You need to ask if you need to use the restroom. We will pull the car over, we'll find a place, and you can relieve yourself. And you would have thought that I was just given a pot of gold because I felt so empowered. It was like, oh my God, that asking muscle was just activated to ask and ask and ask. I thought, I have permission now to ask for my needs to be met. I can ask now questions I might have. It was this whole new world of empowerment. Well, let's go 2 years forward in time to Florida. We were staying in this beautiful hotel. It was so amazing. It was in Miami, and it was really airy. Like, I don't even know if they had doors. Like, I don't remember doors. I just remember just air flowing through, and you could see the beach, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was blues, and there was this beautiful blue staircase right in the middle of the lobby. And so we were in the lobby for some reason. My dad was doing something, my mom was doing something, and my sister and I were just seated in the lobby. And I will tell you, that is mischief-making right there. The two of us in a lobby. Oh, my gosh. So we're just sitting there being who we were. And my sister does the elbow, and she goes, check out that girl over there. And so I look, and there's a little girl, probably around like 8 or 9, and she's dressed up like a 30-year-old. And so we were giggling and asking ourselves, why is she like that? Why is she dressed like that? And bear in mind, we lived in Los Angeles, where you see everything. And for some reason, we were fixated. And so my sister leans over to me and she says, I dare you to go ask her how old she is. Oh boy, dare me. And here was my opportunity to impress my older sister, to have that courage, to walk over and ask somebody I don't know how old they are. And so I thought, I'm going to do this. And I said, okay. So I start to get up, and I take my first step, and this hand comes out of nowhere and grabs my arm, pulls me in, and somebody whispers in my ear, don't you dare. It was my mother. She heard the whole thing. I was mortified. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I was so freaked out. I was more afraid, though, of what the wrath of mom was going to bring upon me. So basically, I did not get to ask my question, and my mother proceeded to drag me up that beautiful blue staircase where I was duly reprimanded. But it was quite an interesting experience for me, and I tell you this because this whole energy around asking for me until I came into this teaching, I had a lot of ambivalence around it because I had so much fear, so much judgment, and so much apprehension about being able to ask, whether it's asking for my needs to be met or asking to a question of somebody. And that's why my talk title today is Just Ask. Just ask. And I find this so interesting because I talk to a lot of people, and they've had similar experiences with asking. They don't feel comfortable. They feel like there's not enough. They feel like they're imposing, and so they don't want to ask questions. And they don't want to ask questions of this universe because we are all about, as Holly was talking about, we are all about asking what we desire to live into. We are here to demand what we desire. And if our asking mechanism is thwarted, like mine was, the results of that are going to be, I'm not living the life that I desire to live. I'm not going to be receiving that which I want. So asking is vitally, vitally important for this life that we want to live, to expand into. And my first quote is this: asking questions is the first way to begin change. When we're in life and everything's just kind of like status quo, unless we ask a question, nothing is going to start to shift. I remember when I was in my middle 30s, and I was really starting to get kind of grumbly about life because I had achieved certain things. I was in a certain place where I just didn't know what was next, basically. And so I asked myself, is there anything more than this? And boy, did I get an answer from the universe back from that question, because the universe is always listening. And so the question is a beautiful way to start change. It's a great way to bring about into your life what is next. And guess what? We ask because we don't know the answers. And what a beautiful thing that is, because this universe is filled with answers that are things that we never even thought of. And so the next thing I would like to bring up is asking moves our energy. Asking moves energy. And I chose this picture because it's a woman looking into a store. And I was thinking, when we're in a state of really desiring something, unless we ask, this is what we're doing. We're just looking in a store window, hoping that something will tumble out the door that is exactly what we're looking for, right? But that's not how it works, does it? I don't know. I haven't had that yet. But we have to go in the store. We got to go in the store, and we got to see what we desire. And then we can choose it and bring it into our life. So asking moves energy. It allows us to say, what can I bring into my life? I would like this. This sounds good. That sounds great. I would like this. And then energy shifts because we become that open vessel for our good. So it is the beginning of moving energy. And my next quote is by Raymond Charles Barker. Any fans of Raymond Charles Barker? He always has something great to bring into a talk. He says this: we stand in a divine givingness which responds to us as we give it a pattern to which it can respond. We have to take the cup to the faucet to fill it. When we know what we want, life can give it to us. And this is so important because what we're talking about is this universal energy and the way that it works. Because you might be asking yourself, well, what am I asking? Who am I asking when I'm asking, right? And we teach here, you are not asking something outside of yourself, like Holly said. We're not asking God Almighty in some other place for our good. We're asking inside of ourselves because we are that universe. We are that energy. And so when we're making that demand on the universe, that, yes, this green light, this is what I'm going to have. Green light, green light, green light. And the universe answers that. It brings that pattern of green lights or whatever into physical reality. And so it's so very important to get clear on what it is you desire and to know you need to demand it. Make the request, make it so, because that releases the energy to fill that pattern. So this is what we do. We are so creative. We are so incredibly creative. And the question begins the whole process. And my next quote is this. So it was so funny. Gilmore and I were looking over my slides, and he goes, you spelled this wrong because it says universe. And I said, no, it's on purpose because we talk a lot about the universe, right? We talk a lot about speaking to the universe or calling upon the universe. And I do that too. I love to say, hey, universe, make it so. But the universe isn't out there either. The universe is you. You are a universe of yourself, in and of yourself. And I just love this quote and I'm going to hopefully say the name correctly. Alejandro Jodorowsky, don't know who that is, but this quote spoke to me. He says this: let the inner God that is in each one of us speak. The temple is your body, and the priest is your heart. It is from here that every awareness must begin. And I like this quote because it really teaches us of the wholeness of life that we are. Because very oftentimes we feel separated. We feel distant. We feel like things are here and there, but within us, there's an integrity and there is a wholeness. There is your God self. There is the heart self. There is this allness that is already present. And I know a lot of us are disconnected from that truth. And so this is an opportunity to see yourself as having all these aspects of creativity and manifestation right inside the universe that you are. And so this is who we're speaking to when we're asking. We're speaking to that higher wisdom, that higher consciousness that is always there, always ready to be asked. It has so many answers for you. It's time to ask. It is time to ask because it is all there within you. That's what the question is about, awareness. Isn't that right? If I'm asking a question, I want awareness, right? And so that's where it begins. And my next quote is this. So Ernest Holmes says this: "The divine urge within us is God's way of letting us know that we should push forward and take that which is awaiting our demand." One of my favorite concepts that Ernest Holmes brings forward is the divine urge. I love the divine urge because I know there is something really big inside of me that wants to come out and play. And so many of us, including myself, for so long in my life, I just said no to the divine urge. I said no because my brain was calling the shots. And my brain was not the right thing to be calling the shots because it wasn't in tune with what I really wanted, the divine urge. And so when we allow ourselves to quiet the mind and say, thank you, you're doing a great job, but not now, not now. Now, the heart wants to come up and speak. We're doing a lot of teaching right now about the heart, and David and I did our soul immersion this Friday about heart and mind coherence. Because there's this dissonance that we are normally in where the mind's going this way and the heart's going this way. But when we can tune it all into one thing where the heart is given the lead and the mind takes a step back, that's when the magic happens in life. Because this heart is so powerful. It is so powerful. It knows everything. And so when we allow that divine urge, which I believe is nestled right here, when we say yes to that divine urge inside of ourselves, then that's going to push us forward. That's going to have a momentum that is tuned in with this whole universal energy, and it's going to take us forward. And it's effortless, I will tell you. When you allow that energy to do the leading, things come out of nowhere, things come together, and your life flows a whole lot easier, and you're fulfilled as a being. And my next quote is this: the art of asking. This is so important. I want to talk about the art of asking because how we phrase our questions is vitally important. And my next quote is, ask from a place of being ready to receive, then want. So think about that, right? If you're thinking about the word want, and then you've got the word ready to receive, which has a higher charge to it? This, right? I am ready to receive, I want. Want is just not happening. It's not happening. And I know that we're taught to want, and want can be a good thing. But if you're really asking for your good from the universe, it's time to come from a place of ready to receive. You're opening up the heart space and opening this flow of energy. And this is a really, really important aspect of manifesting our desires. We've got to be equal. We talk about this a lot here. We have to be equal to that which we want to receive in life. When we're in our life experience and we're wanting or desiring all these different things and it's not happening, the problem is you're not equal to it. And I know that may sound harsh, but think about it. If you're desiring, let's say, $1 million, do you really believe you can have it? Do you really believe it? If you don't believe it really deeply, that's why you don't have it. And I'm sorry to use that money thing. Not that it's a bad thing, but we're more than just money. There can be relationships that you want to have in your life. And I hear it all the time. People come to me, I want a relationship so badly, and they're so broken inside. I think, how can you have a healthy relationship when you're broken inside, you know? Because you're not ready to receive. You're not ready to receive. So it's so important to really open up that receptivity and that being equal to whatever it is you desire, and that's growth. That is a lot of growth. I know for myself in my life that there have been times where I wanted, and I was not equal to it. And I did the consciousness work, became equal to it, and then boom, it all comes together. So my next idea is let go. I have a real interesting story about advanced consciousness and our work that we did in that class. So we, as you know, Dr. Lori got her doctorate because she finished her advanced consciousness and all her papers and books, and she became a doctor. And so I'm at that point now where I'm working on my thesis, my book for my doctorate. And so I started jotting down all these ideas, and they sounded like, people were like, oh, that sounds so good if you write a book about that. But I wasn't feeling it in my heart. And so I did all of the right brain stuff, left brain stuff. And I was doing my laundry lists of stuff. I was having conversations with people, and I had great ideas, but nothing was pulling my heart at all. And so I'm sitting in this quandary going, God, what else can I do? What else can I do? Just ask. It was like, wow, lightning bolt. And so I asked. I said, all right, universe, I am ready for this perfect book idea to just come on in. And I let it go. I didn't start writing again. I didn't start doing anything. I just let it go. And so a few days later, I think it was in the last Let's Talk that Dr. James did, I'm just sitting there listening to people talk and just being very interested, but I wasn't participating. And I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden, bammo, the idea came and landed right square in my mind. It was like, that's it. That is it. I got that excitement and that enthusiasm and that inspiration to be able to create that wasn't happening until I asked. And so it's really important. It's really, really, really important to honor yourself and to ask yourself, what is it that I am ready to bring into my life? And request that by saying, I am ready to receive. That's the magic key right there. And my next, clarity. I thought I would confuse you by having something very unclear on the word clarity. As many of you know, we've had a lot of interesting weather events the last couple of weeks. One just happened last night where, I was actually referring to the haboob, which a lot of us experienced. And, it's a beautiful sunny day. I remember I was driving, and it was gorgeous sunshine, some clouds. And then when I got home, all of a sudden this wind started happening, right? And the dust started flying. And it was a haboob. And I thought, well, this is a really interesting metaphysical moment, because isn't that how life goes? Everything's great and fun, and then the haboob comes. The haboob comes, whether it's a phone call that we didn't expect, whether it's a separation we weren't anticipating, or a diagnosis. Something happens, and the clarity is lost because we're just caught in the condition. We're caught in the circumstance, and we're blind. We're spiritually blind because we've been blindsided by this haboob. When I was studying to be a practitioner many, many moons ago with Dr. Maxine Kay, they teach you about what people are going to be asking you in your sessions, because it's all about people coming to you wanting something, right? And she said, they'll come to you, they want the car, they want the relationship, the house, the this, the that, but what they really need is clarity. That's what they really need. So 9.9 times out of 10, that's what you treat for, is clarity. So you're sitting here in this haboob, and it's all this tumultuous energy moving and moving and moving. You don't need a car, right? You don't need a boyfriend. Well, maybe you do. I don't know. You don't need money. What you need is, and as I will show you right now, what you need is clarity, right? You need clarity. Isn't this such a much better? You can breathe, right? You can feel the expansiveness, because this is what clarity affords us. And I believe asking for clarity is the game changer. To stop focusing and fixating on the things that we think that we need. Clarity starts us off because we remember who we are. When I know that I am the unlimited energy of this universal field that is boundless, when I know that, everything clears up. I have understanding, vision, ideas. It's so cool. Something we're teaching right now as well is all about being open to the unknown. Because when we're in that cloudy haboob, we're trying to look at things that we already know, remedies we've already seen and thought of. When we need something different, we need the unknown to come in, to give us the creativity and the insight that isn't present in our fixed mind of knowing this goes here and that goes there. We need a bigger field in which to draw new information into our consciousness so we can live a greater life, so that we can do something that's on the heart to do without knowing how to do it, and opening up to this greater field and asking it, come on in and lead the way. This is what clarity is all about. And my next is this: ask and you shall receive. I'm not much of a New Testament person, as you might imagine, but this is, there's some good things in there, but today I'm bringing it to you. Ask, and it may not be the proper way it's done, but I know there's a billion Bibles and they all say it differently. But the point is, ask and you shall receive. If you're walking through anything right now and you're trying to figure it out in your mind, and you're really, really desiring a solution, or you're wanting a change, something new to come in, an idea, an answer, anything, excuse me, anything and everything you can have. We got to believe it, though. We got to be equal to it. We have to know. Is there any water around? Ooh, can I? Do you mind?
I don't mind. You have the
Thank you. I want to be able to finish on a high note, and this voice is not doing it. Thank you, Dr. Laura. Now I can speak. Anyways, woo, thank you. I didn't. That was my big finale. I asked, I received, and now I can talk. Thank you, Dr. Laura. Thank God you're back. Anyway, so anything and everything you can have. We just have to get the mind to believe that and to know that. And you let the heart speak. You let it sing. You let it expand. You let it tell the mind, yes, we can, and you can. So I ask you to take some time this week and ask yourself, what is it that you really, really would like to do and be and receive in this life? And ask that universe, that expansive energy of creativity and ideas, ask it in, welcome it into your life, and let it go, because it's going to bring forward some amazing results for you. This is about changing life. It's about changing consciousness. It's about remembering who we are. That really is it. It is not complicated. So know who you are, ask, and you shall receive. So just ask. Namaste.